Governor Brownback pushes statewide water conservation. Drought. Water conservation cuts into suppliers' bottom line. Aquifer levels sinking fast. San Antonio Express News. Water conservation order is extended in California. CA water conservation rules may be permanent. These are all recent online headlines. Living in the San Antonio area, we are all familiar with water restriction laws. These laws are set in place because of the depletion of water reserves. We are responsible for taking necessary precautions, such as restricting our usage, in order to conserve water. Today I will be sharing with you the causes and effects of water shortages and what we can do in our everyday lives to conserve this precious resource. So the problem is that we are depleting our water reserves. And as I mentioned earlier, there are currently water restrictions set in place. We can see that in our community with the San Antonio Water System, or SAWS, restrictions. There are different stages of the restrictions entered when the aquifer drops below a certain level during a 10-day average, the first stage being entered when it drops below 660 feet. According to the SAWS website at saws.org, the historic lowest for the Edwards Aquifer was 612.5 feet in 1956, and the historic highest was 703.3 feet in 1992. For 2015, the low so far has been 634 feet, which was in January, while the highest only reached 673 feet in June. Now, while it didn't get as low as it has in the past, the high was 30 feet lower than the recorded maximum and only 13 feet above the limit for the first stage of water restrictions, and that was only halfway through the year. Water reserves across the nation are being depleted, and there is an increase in droughts. Felicia Marcus, chair of the State Water Resources Control Board for California, states, "It's harder to keep the percentages up in the fall and winter, when little outdoor watering takes place. That's why the savings over the summer were so important. Now we need to keep finding ways to save water. While El Niño storms may bring significant rain this winter, the depth of our drought and the uncertainty of the amount, type, and location of precipitation means we have to continue conserving every way we can." This being said, the lack of water affects how we live and the environment we live in. This includes our everyday practices, our routine, our food, our economy, and the safety of our environment. In regards to the causes, there are multiple. Well, the first primary one would be deforestation, as plants are a major part of the water cycle, as they give off a lot of water during transpiration, and taking away the trees takes away that source of water. Other causes would be the overusage of water during periods of normal rainfall and the negligence in conserving water during periods of low rainfall. So, as I mentioned before, we are responsible for taking the necessary precautions to save our water. My solution is to set in place more concrete water restrictions on a more widespread scale with consequences for not adhering to them. So, the average American uses 140 to 170 gallons of water per day. One flush of the toilet takes 6.5 gallons of water, while an average bath requires 36 to 37 gallons of water. A 5-minute shower can take anywhere between 15 to 25 gallons, while 10 minutes uses 40 gallons. Based on the percentage of indoor water usage for Americans, the amount of water used outside of the home needs to be more restricted. Landscaping accounts for half of the water that Californians use at home. Stricter rules on watering lawns and recreational water use are important to help conserve our water reserves. This solution would be attained fairly easily, as there are water restrictions currently set in place throughout the nation. All it would be doing is amending them to make them more efficient and ensuring that people follow them. This will benefit us agriculturally, along with preventing us from being harmed in our everyday lives by being forced to set in place an even worse and more strict system when we irreparably deplete our water reserves. So, all in all, it is due to our negligence when faced with circumstances beyond our control that contribute to the unnecessary depletion of water reserves. Setting in place more widespread restrictions and making small changes in our everyday routines will help ensure that we don't go beyond the point of no return. It is our responsibility to take these precautions to conserve our water, as it is a resource that we cannot, by any means, live without. Thank you.